Hey. Hi, MarciaGrace here, your modern meditation mentor. And, pragmatists say we're body and a brain, right? We have a body, we have a brain, that's what we are. And that spirit doesn't exist. Spiritual people, on the other hand, say we are spirit. We apparently have a temporary body and brain. Well, if you know me, you know which camp I inhabit. So here we have this contradiction, right? And I've heard many arguments on both sides that seem very plausible, and I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. But I'm bringing this up because this idea of contradictions, because it produces stress, right? When we have contradictions in our mind, brain, in our thoughts, whatever you want to call them, we have stress. There's a tension going on, and of course, my job here is to help us eliminate stress. So that's why I'm talking about this, because I came across this article in a magazine by Marilyn Vos Savant. She's been writing this column for many, many years, and I interestingly found out that we're practically the same age by a couple of weeks in between. But anyway, so her name is Vos Savant, and I'm sure that's a nom de plume because savant means genius. And she is supposedly recorded to have had the highest IQ ever recorded. She's also an author and a playwright and a brilliant gal, and lovely. She's lovely. So she was asked this question in her column about how sound travels in space, and her answer was, it doesn't. Which kind of really made me sit up, because I had never thought about this before. But she said there's no sound in space, and let me quote what she wrote. What we call sound is the way our brains interpret a vibration that propagates in waves through a medium such as air until it reaches our ears. Without any medium to vibrate, no sound exists. Okay, so there's no air in space. So if there's no air in space, then there can't be any sound because there's nothing to vibrate in. So that really got me going, and I said, wow, that's really interesting, because if we watch sci-fi movies or what have you, we hear a lot of noise in space. So according to this, none of that is true. And even the science of quantum mechanics, doesn't state with certainty that the world is real and that the things are really real. Because, for instance, if there is no sound in space, what does that mean? That brought up these issues about, well, what is real? What's real? If something is supposed to be there and it isn't, or do something and it doesn't. That's very confusing. So then I started to think about other things. And then there's quantum mechanics, which really can't state with certainty that the world is real. There are various interpretations, and the Copenhagen interpretation, which is one of the most well-known, states that the act of measurement, of course, we're talking about scientists here. The act of measurement or observation collapses the wave function. I have no idea what that means. Determining the outcome of an event. So what this means is that the physical world is only defined and real when it's observed. When we see it, then it's real. If we're not looking, then it's not real. So that made me think again. My mind just is rolling along here, and I got to the second thought, which is that philosophical question about, if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear, does it make a sound? So something else to think about. All of these things I find absolutely fascinating, and what you really what you believe is up to you. So my spiritual discipline, A Course in Miracles, which I've been studying and teaching for the last 40 odd years, says that the physical world that we perceive, right, that we're seeing with our eyes, with our senses, our ears, hearing, and so forth and so on, is illusory, and that the true reality is beyond that. It's has nothing to do with the physicality of our senses, because this world is a manifestation of the ego, and the ego is a false self-identity. We believe we're these physical beings walking around on a planet, doing stuff. And is that the case? It teaches that the world that we perceive through our senses is a dream, or it often uses the word illusion, and that the true reality of life is non-dual. It's spiritual reality that is something that's beyond our normal or ego perception. And that's what's the truth about who we are. So what's real, and why are there so many see, the thing about contradiction, as I said, is that it could create stress, but it also is for certain people, interesting conversation topic, because then we get into all the different ideas and thoughts, and come from different positions, and it's fun. I think it's fun, and I love a good argument, and and I don't mean argument like fighting, but a philosophical or argument where we can come up with different ideas. So that's why I present this to you, because if we're going to release our stress in terms of a contradiction that we may experience in our life, and Lord knows we've certainly come across plenty of them, I'm sure. You want to do this, but then should I, then there's the question, well, should I do that? Because I know I really shouldn't, or what have you. And so we have these constant contradictions in our lives. And my answer always, and that's why I do what I do, that's why I teach meditation, that's why I have a program to help whoever feels that this would be helpful to them, to parse out what is reality for them, and we do that by discovering our inner wisdom. And when I say that, it's inner wisdom is something that is indefinable in a sense, because what's wise for you may not be wise for me. So it's not a concrete thing that you can grab onto and say, this is the truth. Truth is, in my estimation, dependent on the situation and the people involved. And so we could have a big whole discussion about that. But in any case, so if we're having this discussion and you come across, or in your life, in your day, and you come across a conflict or some sort of thing that's, you have to make a decision, right? You want to know that you have the ability to make that decision. And that's what I really know for myself, and have helped many people to realize, is that they always have the answer. The answer is always with us. And so we can find that answer by becoming an open, still entity, listening to that inner wisdom, as I mentioned, and expecting an answer. Now, the answer may not come immediately, and it may not come in the form you may think you expected. So again, this opens up a whole new way of being in your life, because now it's about trust. And I love to talk about trust. It's one of my favorite topics, because we need to have trust in something greater than ourselves in order to effectuate this ability to listen to that inner wisdom. you have to trust that it's there, and until you do that, you're not going to be able to succeed. So anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up for your delight, I hope, and that you'll enjoy thinking about these things. And if you want to share some comments, I'd love to hear it, and that would be great. So what do I want to tell you? Have a wonderful, as I always say, have a wonderful rest of the day. It's the sun is shining here on Long Island, so I'm a happy camper. And I'm going to go out and play with my chickens for one thing, and do some yard work because it's active. It keeps me active, and also gets my house looking better. So that's all good. And by the way, I just want to mention this. Help the environment by not raking your leaves and getting rid of them. The leaves are where the pollinators overwinter. That's where they go. They hide in the leaves that fall on the ground that Mother Nature put there for them. When you rake up your lawn and make it look gorgeous and beautiful and there's not a leaf to be seen, you are taking away a home for those pollinators that are so important for our livelihood, for us living, for all living creatures. So think about that. Maybe you could push the leaves into the bushes, or you don't have to keep them on the ground if that bothers you. I do, but I don't care. But if that bothers you, rake them into the bushes then. At least give them a place. Give those pollinators a place to survive the winter, okay? All right, anyway, take care. Have a great week ahead. See you soon. Bye-bye for now. God bless.